All right, everybody, welcome back to another Snapper Chat podcast. We've got another special guest today. Make sure you guys have your notepads and pen because we're learning from another Golden Door Award winner in the pest control industry. So, guys, we got Mr. Robby Casagranda today. And Robby, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. So, guys, Robby is going into his 11th year in the door-to-door industry. And this last year, he was able to accomplish the incredible feat of accomplishing the Golden Door Award status. So, Robby, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background and just how you went out and got the Golden Door this last year.
So, my first summer was pretty typical. I served a mission for the LDS church, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, you should come." And I actually sold trash contracts my first year for just a couple months. I went out to Boston and sold trash contracts, and it went good. And then I moved to Utah and realized there was a little bit more money in pest and signed on with Altera, which then became Aptive. Worked with them for a little bit, then worked with Edge Pest Control, which went well. Had a lot of opportunities, met a lot of cool people, and always did pretty good. Then my last year at Edge, I kind of just was looking at all of the money I'd kind of produced myself and my teams. And I was like, you know what? Like, if I would have done that myself for my own company, I'd essentially be retired right now. Like, not necessarily, but there was just like, if I did $2.5–3 million, $4 million in my own company, how profitable pest control can be, it would have really set me up. And so me and a friend decided to start our company out here in Utah. And a big part of doing that is we need to put on customers. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go hit a golden door. Like, that was my goal. It wasn't necessarily something where it was like, I hope I hit a golden door. It was like, if I have to knock 10 months this year, I'm going to sell 1,000 accounts and set us up to, really build this company the right way.
Incredible. So you started up your own company
hmm
and then you were able to go out there as the owner of the company and hit a golden door. What would you say were some challenges that you faced? Because I think a lot of people don't want to go that route
hmm
because they realize how much responsibilities they have to have as the owner of the company, and they'd rather just go out there and personally produce. So what were some challenges that you experienced this last year as you as the owner of the company went out there and hit that status of golden door?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely challenges, and I will say having a good business partner, right? He was very unselfishly willing to let me hit the golden door and take like almost like a step back and not be the face of the company or everyone's celebrating me, but we did that together, right? So I had a really good business partner that helped us manage our routes, help us keep everything up to date on the IT side. But yeah, like when I first started, I mean, I had to spray my own accounts. Like, I would go out there. I remember I got a 10-day and I probably sprayed 6 or 7 of them myself. And that's exhausting work. It's hard to sell 10 accounts, hard to sell 15 accounts, but then to actually spray those jobs, it can be exhausting as well. And so there was that. Now, because I was licensed, it did kind of help me because at times if we didn't have a tech, then I could go out on a Saturday or something. I could sell 4, 5, 6, 7 accounts, but I could still same day those. So I'd say, yeah, that was a frustration. Knocking in Utah was a little bit annoying just because I ran into like every company possible, and it was there was some good, some bad, and obviously we had like 3 reviews, so I got better asking people like for advice that started their own companies. I'm like, hey, like, how do you get reviews? And so I started sending out texts as the summer goes on. But yeah, like having no reviews, knocking on someone's door and being like, hey, this is my company. That some people love it, right? Like some people would just switch over to me. They're like, oh yeah, like I'd rather support local. But some people are like, how do I know you're not going to be in business next year? And I'm like, well, I guess you don't, but I've been doing this a long time. We're going to be here. And if I'm not, you can always go back to Aptive or always go back to Terminex, whatever. And so, that was there. Fortunately, because I didn't hire a sales team, that actually took stress off me, not being a manager and not having to worry about payroll. That was one reason I thought it was important for me just to go out and do it instead of hiring sales reps. Is you hear about all these companies, even big ones, where the first year they get behind on payroll. And, having to work out all those details and whatever, I was like, hey, like, I didn't get paid a commission. We were able to be profitable and all that. So I made money this year, but it was that was kind of frustrating at times because I guess not having a team or not having the same checks roll over as I'm used to could be frustrating. But overall, it was a great experience, and I really don't think I could have done it without, having a really good business partner. And then my brother-in-law actually came out and was my tech, serviced a bunch of my accounts, almost all of them, and that was nice to have. And then my mom actually did customer service for us, so it's kind of like a family thing where it was able to help them out, which I love providing employment for them. But they really helped me out, and it helped me to sell solid accounts. I wasn't going to sell someone that was going to yell at my mom later because I didn't tell them about this or that, right?
Dude, again, to be able to go out there as the owner of the company and hit that golden door is something that I haven't personally heard of before. So hats off to you for that. Would you say that this was like the best year of your life in the door-to-door industry? Like your 10th year, would you say this was the best year, or would you say it was not the case?
No, this was the best year. I felt, one, I was in control, right? Like I was in control of the customer experience. I've been there. We've all been there working for other people where you promise something and the company doesn't come through, or they backtrack, or they say we offer this, but then the next year they don't. And so I felt like I was able to provide the customer exactly what I promised them. Again, because I wasn't part of that's on my end too. I didn't overpromise because again, I'm not going to have someone yelling at my mom because I overpromised for some snake or whatever, something in their yard that I told them I'd get rid of. Um, so yeah, I would say it was my best year. Kind of a funny thing. There was actually a time where I had like my backpack spare in the back of my sedan as we were like buying trucks. So I had a backpack spare in my sedan. I had the big like 30-foot pole like shoved in my car, and it's kind of funny. But it worked out because the way I pitched to customers was like, I'm not, if you, once you see my car, you'll know I'm not charging you $1 more than I have to. Cause it was this old sedan and it literally, I'm just opening up the trunk, pulling a backpack spare out using their hose. But like those are to me, that was like kind of a fun thing. Like, to be able to say that, like, yeah, I was driving out to area with a backpack spare in the back of a sedan with the 30-foot pole shoved into my car any way I could. And, it was crazy, but it was fun. But yeah, this was definitely my best year. Like, just mentally, like I don't know what the right word would be, but mentally, I just was in love with, I guess, giving the customer everything that I was taught to say. Because I felt like that at some companies you were taught to say one thing that the tech did something else, and that just wasn't the case for me this year. And just to know, like, these customers, I'm not restarting, right? Like, I retain 91% of these customers, which is huge in any sort of summer. But I don't know of anyone that retained that much in the goal that hit a golden door. So 91% of these customers are going to come back and pay me this year, and right. And if we keep retaining, lose 10% a year or whatever, like that's something that's going to take care of my family much more than just one summer.
Yeah, sounds like the stars definitely aligned, like with everything, with your mom, with your relative being able to help you out, your family being able to help you out with
Hmm.
that. And like I think a lot of times people might not care about the back end. And it's like to be successful in the door industry, it's like you have to have the right sales process, you have to have the right internal ops process,
Hmm.
accounting, like everything's got to come together with the synchronicity to be able to have it come together. So it sounds like that's what happened for you, which is awesome. I'm curious, over the last 10 years, what would you say has been like the hardest year of your life? And do you have any courage or encouragement or like wisdom to share with people that are, kind of like brand new maybe, or like they're a veteran in the industry door to door, for how you overcame that hard year and kind of like what the challenges were that you went through?
Yeah. I think so my second year at Edge, they have like the big competitions, right? And so the biggest one, they call it the Madness, which is like your typical like March Madness bracket, 1 to 1 to 1. You go like fight 1v1 all the way up, right? And now there's some politics or whatever, but anyway, I made it to the championship, and um, in my and a lot of people agree I like won that championship. Now I bent a rule. I didn't bend a rule. It was not against the rules for me to sign up my own house at that time. They did make the next year. So anyway, it comes down to it, and I'm like $200 in revenue behind. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I need pest control in my house. And I even told them, I'm like, I'll pay a year in advance. Like, I'm not going to cancel this account or whatever. So I signed myself up. And anyway, so what happened is they decided, like, we're not going to let you win by selling your own house. And so I lost that. And that was a chance to take my wife to New York, go see Wicked, the whole New York experience. And that was pretty painful. Like, honestly, I was like pretty mad and I wanted to quit. And I really felt like the guy that they let win. Um, I think they thought they were going to lose him, and it was kind of like a Cinderella story. This guy was like not like one of the top reps, and he came in and beat the number one or top three rep at the time. So I felt like there was some politics in play. I didn't break a rule. I understood that they didn't want me to win by selling my own house, but it wasn't a rule. So I didn't feel like I should have lost that account. So anyway, I lost that, and they have the banners in the Edge gym, and my whole thing was like, I didn't really care about New York, but I want to be on that banner. And now I could have just been like a sore loser and been like, you know what, this sucks. Like, I can make all the excuses in the world, but you know, I remember like what kind of turned me around is it was like 1 or 2 days after that. I went out. I think I sold like one account each of those days, nothing big, but my manager Dave, he calls me and he's like, "Well, bro, you can still be on the banner. The other one is if you're the top rep." And at that point, I think I was like top three or top two. And so basically what I did is like, you know what, like I'm gonna just go give this all and kind of like flip them off for like taking this away from me. I'm gonna go be the number one rep and I'm gonna get my name on that banner. Um and that pushed me. Like, I went out there and it took to like the very last day of the summer for me to hit that. Like, we were going back and forth, and I ended up beating him, and that was like pretty cool. And now there's much worse things that happen to other people, I guess. Like, I've had other summers where, like me and my wife like had like a failed pregnancy and stuff. That was really hard. But I'm just trying to think of something that relates to them, and that'd be, dude, you lose a competition or a month doesn't go the way you want, like, refocus. You can't focus on these things. Like, your manager is going to let you down. I've let down reps, in different things, whether we went to the wrong city, I didn't get permits, whatever, like, things happen. But like, keep your eye on like the next goal. And by hitting that next goal, like, I made my family way more money because I pushed myself harder than I would have. And I still got my name on the banner. And I would say like, that's like, I didn't win a competition and that came down to a 1 day sale, but I won the competition that takes the whole year, right? And that, to me, that meant more than get my name on the banner for being, a top rep or something, like, or sorry, for winning a competition.
Dude, sounds like it was like all of the ingredients though for success with like chip on the shoulder, visualization, like you saw yourself on the banner. I'm curious, like going back to like the Golden Door, what would you say for all the guys watching, all the girls watching that want to go out and hit Golden Door 2025? What would you say, Robbie, are like the 5 steps to be able to hit a Golden Door in 2025?
Yeah. So I think you got to give yourself the time, right? And you have to commit to it. So a problem that I think that I had is I would start off, May 1st, end of April, whatever. And I'd be like, I'm going to hit a golden door. But my summer was going to end August 31st. And so I'd get to August and I'm at 350K in rev. It's like, okay, I'm not going to hit this. And now, realistically, if I did the math, I'm like, okay, I did 350K in 3 months. So if I stay 3 more months, I should be able to hit 650. That had me selling in October. I should be able to hit it, right? Now, I just wasn't willing to do that. And so if you want to hit a golden door, you have to commit. Now, what's funny about that is if you commit and you're like, I'm going to stay out there, you will actually start to sell better. Because this happened to me. I got out there, I started selling in March. I was like, I'm going to sell to October. And I'm like, this is how much I have to do. And pretty quickly I realized, like, bro, like, I do not want to sell in October. Like, I'm knocking in March. There's snow on the ground. It's cold. I hate the cold. It's going to be the same way in October or November. And so you start to do the math, like, how many do I need to sell? And then, and what was crazy is I went from selling like, my goal was to sell like 50 a week. And if I sold 50 a week with cancellations, it should take me about 20 to 25 weeks. Or yeah, or whatever it was. Like I had the math down of how long it was going to take me. I think it was 20 weeks. Um, and so then I was like, okay, but if I sell 70, then I can be out of here. Like I can finish on time. Or I think it was 60. If I sell 60, I should be able to finish in August. And then I was like, you know what? Like it'd be cool just because I have a little farm here. I've got kids and stuff. I was like, what would it take me to do it before August hits? Like that was my goal. And so then I had to sell like 65 or 70. I don't remember what it was, but I sold better. And so give yourself the time and just, tell your manager, like, do not let me leave Texas or leave Connecticut, wherever you're selling until I hit this golden door. And there's a lot of guys in this industry that do it. Like hats off to them. I mean, the grit, that's what they're known for, is those guys like that is like the grittiest thing I think there is it's cool to hit a golden door, but like if I would have been at 600 accounts by the end of August, I don't know if I have the grit to go out there and sell into November. And there's guys that did that. And so I would say that's the first one. Give yourself the time and then commit to do the time it's going to take to hit a golden door. Um, Secondly is like learn, right? Like, and it doesn't just mean from your manager. So even when I was at Altera, Active, when I was Edge, it didn't matter. Like I was always trying to learn things. And so like, for example, like this summer, one of the things that helped me was I listened to a podcast. I listened to, I didn't know about your guys', but I would listen to yours if you were interviewing Golden Door. So guys, listen to every single Golden Door winner on here. It doesn't matter if they sell security, solar, whatever. Then go to like Sam Taggart's podcast. I listened to every single of his Golden Door deep dive. And then once I finished those, I went to the Grit, which is like a competitor or whatever. And I mean, they don't even know who I am, so it's not really a competitor on their end. But at the same time, like I could be like, oh, I can be prideful and be like, I'm not going to learn from these guys from Aptiv or Grit because like they're competitors. I don't care. Like I'll learn from, like there can be a company that straight up stole 100 of my customers. I'm still going to try to learn from them because with that knowledge, I'll go steal 100 back. So I listened to every podcast that I could find from Golden Door winners. And that was huge. There was days where I was having a hard time. And I'd be listening to podcasts. The guys are like, man, like I had those days I was at zero and it's like, maybe I should just go like take my wife to dinner, reset, have a big Monday. But I stayed out there and got 4 or 5. So like learn everything you can. There's tons of podcasts, ton of stuff out there. And there's guys that will connect with me, but there's guys that be like, okay, I don't sell anything like Robby, or whatever. And they might connect with someone from the Grid or someone from Aptiv or someone from Hawks, whatever, or someone that you guys have interviewed. So, and they might be in a completely different industry. So, again, give yourself time, learn everything you can. Third is I think visualization is a huge part of it. So one thing, I've listened to so many of Sam Taggart's podcasts. And so one of the things that I visualized was being on his podcast, being interviewed because I hit Golden Door. And that was such a cool opportunity when I got to be on that podcast. And then I'm on like this one. I've been on one other. I'd never been on a podcast before, but that was like a visualization. I can't visualize that, 1,000 customer contracts in my hand. Like that's kind of, we're all on iPads now these days, right? But, I did visualize that being on the podcast, like, having that Golden Door thing. I don't even know how big it necessarily is. So I have a spot in our room that it's going to be. My wife will probably make me take it down, but whatever. Like it might end up in the man cave or the garage, but I visualized that being on my wall. And I've known what I was going to wear to Door Con since like well into last year. Like I knew before the summer started. I have a nice suit. It's the one I got married in. I don't wear it much anymore. Black t-shirt underneath. Like I knew what I was going to wear when Sam Taggart hands me my Golden Door. And so visualization's huge. And again, I'm not big on like, oh, I'm going to drive this nice car. Like you guys would be surprised. Like I'm pretty cheap. I drive an '07 Accord. Like I don't really care about owning these nice vehicles. Honestly, as being a business owner, I need to buy trucks. I don't need to buy, a sports car. And my kids are just going to ruin the leather in any nice car I buy anyway. So I'm not like visualization as in this is what I'm going to buy, but the feelings, that of like, this is how it's going to feel when I sit in Sam Taggart's chair. If you're watching this and you're like, I want these guys to reach out to me on Instagram and want to interview me. Like I'm going to sit in this podcast or I'm going to sit on the landing pad if I'm a guy at the Grit and be asked what advice I have for the guys that want to hit it in 2026. So that'd be third. Fourth, mentally, like I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm not the best at like self talk. Like there's plenty of times where I'm calling myself a bitch or telling myself to like what's wrong with me on the doors. But I will say I keep myself in the game and I understand my weaknesses. And by that, I mean, I know that, like, I've known this for a long time. Like, my hardest part of my day is getting out of the car. And so, what do? I don't take a lunch. I eat lunch before because I'm not going to force myself out of the car twice. Because once I'm on the doors, I can stay on the doors. But anyway, so I know that that's like a weakness of mine, right? So, like, it's hard to get out of the door. And most guys, like, may not admit that. Like, I consider myself a hard worker. But when it's 120 degrees or 110 degrees, and if you're in Texas and it's humid, like everyone has a hard time getting out of the car. So it's not like a failure of yours. Just understand that. And so, a couple ways that I have like figured out mentally is like set callbacks at like 10:30, right? Like right when you're going to get on the doors, like you have to go talk to this person at 10:30 because once you're out of the car, you probably won't go back. Park in a park and then segue a quarter mile into your area. That helps me so I don't like pass my car and be like, oh, I should take a break. Another weakness of mine is like I'm a slow starter. Like I've always been a slow starter. I may not get a sale for like 2-3 hours sometimes, and I just got to understand that that's going to happen, and I'm going to beat myself up. But once I start getting sales, like I will ride that momentum. And so mentally, the way that I like fight that is I get on the doors as early as I can, because these guys that knock 4 or 5 hours, like that's awesome. But like I can't do that because if I go 3 hours without a sale, that gives me 2 hours. If they each take 15 minutes, like I'm limiting myself to like 6 sales or 7 sales. But if I can go out there and I knock for 8-9 hours, okay, I lose two, that's 7 hours. I can go out there and I can still hit 20. And a little story of that is I actually had that happen where I had at 4 o'clock, I had one deal. And honestly, I was like really frustrated because it had been a while since I'd been that late in the day and only had one. But between 4 and I think I finished that day around 8 because I was a 55 and older. I don't remember if I sold 15 more accounts or if I sold 15 total. So it was either I sold 15 more accounts and hit 16, or I sold 14 more and hit 15. I don't really remember the number, but that's a huge amount of accounts. And I could have quit because I had been on the doors at that point for 6 hours and only sold one account. And then in 4 hours, I sold 15. So mentally, you just got to check in and you got to know your weaknesses. And it's okay. Like, I don't necessarily feel like if you can fix them, great. If you can't, then understand what you got to do. Skip lunch. Okay. Just get out of your car, force yourself out of your car because you'll stay out. If you're a slow starter, get on the doors early. If you don't knock well at night, fine. Like, or if you're one of those like me, I don't like knocking when it's 10 o'clock at night. Perfect. Start early. Okay. I'm going to put myself in the best situation and not play into my weaknesses. And then lastly is like same routine. And I know not everyone can do this, but I'm like very specific. I have to do the same thing every day. And so like I have the same pants and the same jersey that I wear like every single day. I mean, not so the pants, I have multiple pairs, but they're Carhartt pants because I'm kind of a country kid and I wanted to kind of stand out on the doors. So I wear Carhartts every single day. And then with my jersey is like my goal was I don't change my shirt unless I sell less than 10. And what that does is I don't like to change it. I don't know why, it's a mental thing. So I will stay out until I sell 10. If I have 9 and it's 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to knock until I get that 10th sale. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what everyone has to do, but be in some sort of routine like that. Like expect yourself to get that many deals and then don't change things up. Like if I change something up, like I forget my hat, like I have to drive back and get my hat because in my mind, I'm going to bagel if I don't have my hat on. And there's different things you can say like, oh, you're giving credit to things that don't matter. Well, if I think those things matter, then they matter. And I've told tons of reps that is like, it doesn't matter how you dress unless you think it matters. And then it definitely matters. And it's just how it is. And every morning, I did CrossFit. I eat the same thing every single day. I hit the doors on the same time every day. And what that is doing is I am in this consistent routine every single day where I wake up, I go to CrossFit. I eat my same lunch every single day. I get on the doors at whatever, 10 o'clock, and I'm going to knock till 9 o'clock, or I'm going to knock 11 to 8, whatever your time is. And I punch in, when I punch in those, I get 10 sales or I get 4 sales or whatever you're at. So just consistency, I think, is key. So yeah, that's what I say is like probably the 5 things that I would suggest.
Nuggets. Yeah, I love the story about you had gone until like 4 o'clock, 6 hours. You sold one account, and then you go out and do 15, maybe
Yeah.
16, and
Or
it's
what,
like
14 or 15,
that's the
yeah.
meme. It's amazing. I mean, that's the classic meme where the guy's digging for gold, and then it's like he gives up right before he strikes gold, and it's like how many of us are watching this podcast right now are giving up right before we strike gold? So that's a huge message. And again, you know, I don't know if there's anybody else in the door-to-door industry that's been able to go out there and hit Golden Door as the owner of the company. And I think also we talked about it before. It's like, I don't know if we've met anybody that's done the door-to-door, Golden Door in Utah. And you've also accomplished that. So like all around, dude, like just
Mhm.
definitely you're a 1%er. And I'm curious, what are some like 1% improvements that you're looking to make in 2025 to make 2025 an even better year than 2024?
Yeah. So we've expanded now like a little bit in northern Utah. So I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to chase down another Golden Door, but I am. I don't know if I'll go much beyond that because I have some guys knocking for me this year. So I really want to help those guys, especially if they have rookies to hit it. But I think that it's important in this newer like northern branch, like up in like Ogden area, is like, okay, if we go put on another extra 1,000 accounts, or I guess it wouldn't be an extra, like I was thinking I would do 500, but an extra 500 customers. And naturally, because I'm, one of the owners, and I live in this area, those customers are going to retain better, not just in the first year, but forever. Cause they're gonna be like, oh, I remember when Robby came by, Robby's the owner, Robby's brother sprays the house. When I call the call center, I get Robby's mom, whatever. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? I need to go do another Golden Door. And I'm not sure if I'll knock much past hitting a Golden Door. I know a lot of guys hit one, not a lot of guys hit two, and so that's part of it too. Um, so my goal this year, yeah, is go out do a Golden Door. But I would love to. I'm really trying to work on getting a couple guys that are friends of mine over here, and I would love to see someone else hit a Golden Door with me. So. And I have guys that are thinking about getting out of the industry, and I'm like, dude, just come knock one more year with me. Like, I mean, I never, me and you sold about the same, because there's a lot of guys that are in that 3 to 400K range, or that like, if you go on accounts, like where they're about half, so if you go on accounts like 500, 600 accounts, or 400 to 500 accounts, where it wouldn't take much of a tweak and they'll hit a Golden Door. It's just doing the little things, right? You got to sell consistently. You got to be out there maybe a little bit longer, um, and it's just all about momentum. Because once you start rolling and you hit 400 accounts, you're like, man, I'm on pace. I can do this. So I'd love to have a Golden Door winner work for me. Not There's a couple guys that I have in the works. Haven't signed any of them yet with me, but I do have a couple guys that they're trusting me to come over, and I'd love to see those guys, double their best summers, or beat it by 100 accounts. So, our goal like this year is we'd love to do like I was telling you, is if we can get up to $2 million in revenue, just like and not like active revenue, not just like we go out and sell and then we lose like 40%, but at the end of next summer, we look and we have $2 million in active revenue. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that you're on point. It's like if you help enough people get what you want, you'll always get what they want. You'll always get what you want. And so it's like you've hit that status. No doubt you're gonna have people that are gonna want to work for you now because you've been able to attain that level of Golden Door, right? And so now it's like, how cool would that be if you were able to go out there and help, the first person do it, then help three, four, five people do it. And like, who knows? Maybe you're one of the biggest pest control companies like 5, 10
Yeah.
years from now. It's like if like, what's that Napoleon Hill quote? What the mind can conceive, you can achieve as long as you're able to willing and able to work for it. And
Yeah.
it's like it sounds like you're doing that, and it's like it doesn't happen right away. It's like overnight success. It's like no, you've been doing this for 10 years,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're not like a rookie in the space. But with what you're teaching people now, like with the 5 steps, it's like we can take rookies now and go out there and they can hit that now in their first year, in their second year, in their third year, which is pretty cool to
Guys
think
are
about.
doing it
So,
now.
Robby, yeah, Yeah, no, it's like as long as they've got the training, the accountability, and I think it's like there's no like secret sauce. It's like the secret sauce is like you just got to put in the hours. You got to stay consistent. What you're talking about with the routine is like you don't want to have what's called decision fatigue, right? Like you don't want to be having to think about like what am I eating today? What am I wearing today? It's like you got everything planned out. You know exactly what you're going to be doing, where you're going to be doing it. So all you need to be thinking about is like who's my next customer that I'm going to sign up
Yeah.
versus like what am I wearing today? Where am I going out to eat?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I appreciate you coming on, man. You dropped a ton of nuggets for us.
Yeah.
Would you have any final message for everybody watching? For all the guys, girls that are wanting to go out there and hit Golden Door 2025? What should people do? What should people stop doing? What's a challenge or any encouragement you have for everybody watching as we wrap up this awesome podcast?
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention is I don't think you'll ever meet a Golden Door winner that is not the hardest worker in his office, right? Unless I guess if they have multiple, but you got to be the hardest worker. I take pride in that a lot. Like I love when I've told guys like I love when people think I'm crazy. Like when someone's like, "Man, that guy's crazy. He just dropped 10 and there's literally lightning like striking houses, or whatever." Like I remember like one time I sold an account and there was like a tornado. Like I literally sold them in their bunker. That was my first year. I didn't know because I'm from Alaska. I didn't even know tornadoes were like real. That was just like off the Wizard of Oz or whatever. But I'm literally in someone's bunker and I sold an account to him. It was funny because I was cheap or whatever. But be the hardest worker. Like if like people should think you're crazy, your car group should hate you because you're picking them up. You're picking them up late. And like and if you're attracted like to the guys that sell a lot but put in the least amount of effort, like those guys don't hit Golden Doors. Those guys cap out at 200K in rev. They can make six figures, but those guys are not making huge money, and eventually they fall off because they're trying to put as little effort in and get the most effort or most results. And I would rather put twice as much effort and sell 1.5 times better than put half the effort in and sell the same. Like it's just I want to be known as like, yeah, that crazy guy in the office that just works the hours, never quits. And I've had lots of guys that have worked for me that just, they don't get sales until 8, 9 o'clock at night, but like those guys put in the effort and those guys make money. But I've also had the guys that can sell. I always break down averages for people just so they can understand that. Cause I've had guys that average like 1 in like 12 people they talk to, they sell. And I will compare them to the guys that sell 1 in 50, but somehow the 1 in 50 is outselling this 1 in 12 because this guy goes and gets a sale and he sits at Subway for 6 hours. Like that's just crazy to me. So guys, like be the hardest worker. And if someone has a better sales ratio, that's fine, dude, because I'm going to outwork that guy. It doesn't matter unless he works as hard as me, he's not going to outsell me.
Love it. I love that mindset, dude, of like wanting to be the crazy person in the room. And it's just, again, that quote of like, those that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do. So, Robby, that's you, brother. We appreciate you for coming on the
Yeah.
podcast. Congrats again on hitting that in 2024. You're definitely going to be able to do it in 2025. Looking forward to hanging out with you this week at Door to Door Con 8 with Sam Taggart. We're going to
Yeah.
see you on stage wearing your suit and the black shirt,
Yeah.
getting the Golden Door. And so, like, congrats, bro. Like, you visualized it and now it's happening. So,
Yeah, man.
we appreciate you for coming on here and sharing your wisdom with everybody. And we'll put your information in the link below in the description below, so anybody can follow you if they want to come out, work with you in 2025 and beyond. They can do so. And again, thank you so much. And guys, we'll see you in the next podcast. Let's go.
Yeah.